would like to welcome you. And what we're going to be talking about today is what our role is as an ADC. Okay. And so it's all about Assistant District Commissioner's role. Okay. First of all, we need to define what makes a good Assistant District Commissioner. We also have to understand the relationship between Assistant District Commissioners and the District Commissioner. And then we're going to discuss the various roles of an Assistant District Commissioner. Now, I think it's very important for all of us to understand as an ADC, our responsibility mainly is to report back to the District Commissioner. And as an Assistant District Commissioner, we have a great role that the District Commissioner has put upon our shoulders. Now, with that being said, I need to make sure that you have an understanding of that role as an ADC, okay? And with that being, let's move on to our slide here. What makes a good ADC? Here's a question I'm gonna ask. What characteristics do you think an Assistant District Commissioner should have? Thoughts? Anybody can speak. Just unmute and let's talk.
Passion and commitment to service.
Okay, that's a good one.
Organized, super organized.
Being really organized. Okay.
Coach or
Reliable.
cheerleader as opposed to like trying to go in and take over on everybody.
Okay. Reliable. Being reliable. That's very important, especially to the leaders that we are responsible to in the units, that they know that we're there to help them to be reliable, to be able to understand their concerns. Anyone else?
Be a good communicator.
Oh, good job. Communication is very important in our role. What else? Okay. Here's another question we'll talk about here then.
Hey, Larry.
Yes.
There's a couple things in the chat that came through. Good relationship with others, good relationship with district committee, to be a mentor.
Yes.
To get cross training and show good cross training opportunities. Those are all comments. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention there, Paul. I just brought that chat up, and yes, I can see what you're saying. But here just a few minutes ago, we heard about whoever said being passionate about scouting. I don't know about you, but I'm very passionate about scouting. I've been in it for over 40 years now, and it's all about the youth, and that's what our jobs are, is to make sure that they're having a great experience in their scouting experience. The other one is come from diverse backgrounds. I mean, we have diversity right now is really very common. That's more common on the, especially for those that are from like back east, Midwest, and Hawaii and everywhere else. It's more diversified than we originally had here in our own council. We just recently combined the 3 councils in our state, which we had combined together to make the Crossroads of the West Council. And it was interesting to see, once that happened, how diverse we became, because it wasn't just one organization. It was more diverse. It was from all over, which I felt it's helped us to grow immensely as a council. Now, the other thing that's really important as an ADC, we have to have a servant's heart, because we are a servant to those we serve. Would you agree with that? Okay, I see everybody shaking their head, yes. And so, going on, the why and the how of an ADC. How important is the relationship between the district commissioner and the assistant district commissioner? Comments?
It should be fluid.
Okay, it should be fluid. Why?
Well, I think it should be, I think it's very important in that there should be like real communication there, because the district commissioner can't do it alone. The assistants can't do it alone. They have to work as a team to go out and serve all the units and bring that information back so that they can brainstorm together and soundboard together to come up with ideas of how to approach different problems, challenges that come up, and then take that information back and say, okay, this is what the handbook said. This is, you know, what the rules say. How can we incorporate this into the solution, and then get them to start working on solving their own problems now that they have the training and the information to solve it with.
Good comment. Okay, is it Liza Rose? Is that how we say that?
It's Lisa Rose.
Lisa Rose.
Mhm.
Lisa Rose, you're our participant from
Idaho.
Idaho.
Mhm.
So thank you for those comments. And yes, you're correct. We have to have a direct communication with our commissioner. We are his assistant. And with that being said, we have to be joining hands, hand in hand with the commissioner, so that he knows what's going on within the district that we serve, okay? The why and the how. The district commissioner is the major role of the district, correct? He's one of the key 3 players. As a district commissioner, he has 4 basic commissioners in itself. He has the ADCs over the service area. He has the ADC over roundtable. He has the ADC over training. And he also has the ADC over administration. But one thing that I really want to play a bigger role about is this portion right here. As an ADC of the service area, we should have unit commissioners that we're dealing with. Now, as an ADC, as Liza Rose just said, the commissioner himself has a tremendous role and he cannot do it by himself. That's why we are called as their assistants. And in turn, we then give names to the district commissioner to be unit commissioners. Now, the units that we serve should have unit commissioners in them. Unit commissioners have a very vital role in the units in themselves. And the importance of the unit commissioner is that they make sure that the units are functioning the way they should function. If there are needs that need help, then who do they go to? They come to us as an assistant district commissioner. And if we can't resolve that issue, then we in turn go to the district commissioner and he will help us out. Now, there are many things out there that we can use, many tools that we can refer to. Now, the unit commissioner, and I'm very active with this role because right now I am an ADC. And I think that it's very important that we all understand, regardless of what assignment we're given by the district commissioner, we in turn give that to the unit commissioner who is over maybe 2 or 3 units or maybe even just 1 unit. But regardless of how many that are over, we have an obligation as an ADC to make sure that we are in touch with unit commissioners monthly. And they give reports back to us, and we in turn give it back to the commissioner. And that plays a very vital role for one reason. And that reason is if the unit is having issues, then whose responsibility is it to help those units? It's us as the unit commissioners first, and then we as the ADCs, okay? Along with that, there are other responsibilities that the ADCs have. We have roundtable ADCs. We have Cub Scout roundtable commissioners. We have Scouts roundtable commissioners, and we have Venture roundtable commissioners, and so on. And so with each one of those, they all play a vital role in this, the role of an ADC, because they in turn all report back to the district commissioner. So these are the why and the hows of the ADC. Now, here is a question I'm going to ask you. How might ADCs be of assistance to the district commissioner? Comments? Anyone? How
Do
might
your
we?
job. Do your
Go ahead.
job.
Do your job. That's really important. A lot of us, we're very lackadaisical. Wow, did I say that right? Lazy. I'm going to shorten the version and say too many times we don't follow through with what our responsibilities are. And the units need our help as an ADC from the unit commissioners. They can't function without us, because if they're having problems, there's no way that they can overcome the problems that they are having. As an assistant district commissioner, I think you need to have a very important understanding that don't take this job lightly. Take it more serious than a lot of us do, because we have a heavy, great responsibility in making sure that the young men and the young women are doing that they need to do to enjoy their scouting experience. Okay. The ADC's responsibilities. Here is a question again. What do you think are some areas of responsibility for assistant district commissioners? Comments?
You have roundtable
You've got roundtable.
and obviously they may be over different areas or they have a number of units that they need to work with.
Yes. Either one or
Training.
two. Pardon, I'm sorry.
So sorry to interrupt. I was going to say training,
Training.
supervising training and youth protection.
Correct. And that's very vital and very important, especially as far as training is concerned. And that's why we're all here today, is to continue to learn about what responsibilities that we have and the callings that we hold. And when we talk about in the training in itself, we should know what we are doing. Okay. And I'll go one step farther than that, and that we should be able to be responsible, to be able to know what's going on within the units, okay? And that comes from the unit commissioners. And that's the only way we can help. Now, how many of you use myscouting.org in making your commissioner's report? Good job. And that's something we all need to learn to do, so that the commissioner, the district commissioner, know what's going on within the district, so that he can be able to provide the help that's needed for the units that we're responsible for. Okay. I show you this little 4-person block down here. One is yellow, one is green, one is blue, one is red. Each one of these has something. There's how can I help is our yellow box. The other one is I can do, meaning I can do whatever they need if it's possible. We could. Now, what do we mean by we could? That's all of us together, that we can overcome any of the situations that any unit may be having. Okay. The next one is, what may I do? How can I help you? How can I be able to assist you in resolving the issue that may be at hand? Okay. So with that being said, these are some of the responsibilities that we should do. Okay. Now I'm going to break up here into 4 teams, and I'm going to call you by name. And I know that we can't meet separately as a group, but in your own mind, I want you to take these scenarios. I want you to write down your own thoughts, and then I'll talk to each one of you about it. This is the scenario. Here's the team. Here's the first team. Carl Cook, Chad Rapier, Thomas Gates, Christine Beauchamp. I hope I said that right, Christine. Michael Robinson, Here's team 2. David Hatch, Nelson Palmer, Wesley Forgy, Deborah Hall, and Robert Reeder. Team 3, Rachel Hutchings, Paul Vernett, Liza Rose Hansen, Shauna Reeder, and Marissa Souza. Team 4, Judy Loveland, Mike Perkins, Barbara Kelly, Michael Pearson, Cindy Scardino, and Greg Zim. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. Now, I know we can't break out so that you can meet together. Normally, if we were doing this in person, we would all I'd have you break into a group and then talk together. But I want you to write some notes down on a pad of paper, and then we'll talk about the scenarios you're going to be given. Okay, team 1. Here's your scenario right here. Okay, I want you to read that, and then you make your comments on that. Team 2, here's your scenario. You make your comments on this scenario. Team 3, here's your scenario. I want you to make your comments on that one. Team 4, here's your scenario. I want you to make your comments on that one. I'll give you a few minutes to make your comments and write them down, and then we'll discuss them. And then together, all of us will do scenario number 5. So with that being said, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes here to come up with some answers to these scenarios. Okay, Paul.
Question about the gray one. Are your however, does that apply to the succeeding units or to the ones that haven't been using Journey to Excellence?
I would say succeeding units.
So what you're saying is the units are getting gold and silver, but like one person fills it out and the other two just, cheer when they get their thing, right? Instead of all 3 of them collaborating.
Correct.
Thank you.
When you've finished with your thoughts, just kind of raise your hand a little bit, and then we'll continue to move forward. But I want to give you some time to write down your notes. Let's go to team 1. It's your turn to speak. What would you think? How would you handle this situation, this scenario?
I would start
Yeah.
asking some questions to find out what that one unit is doing, perhaps different from the other units, to keep that 100% trained leadership and share that information.
Good. Any others from team 1?
I would try to have public recognition, to congratulate the performing unit that, makes them feel like they've done a great job, and also kind of challenges and encourages the others to follow suit. So I think positive reinforcement is very effective. And then obviously I would, reach out directly to those units that are showing only 30% of train leaders, and explain the importance of training and try to connect them with the available resources. A lot of times people just don't know that they aren't performing. And oftentimes we also have technical problems. Like we have people with multiple registrations, and they have some training on one, BSA ID, and then some on the other. And when you really are able to merge that, it turns out that they are trained. That's happened to us multiple times. So, I think that with the units that are showing a low percentage of training, we really need to dig deeper and either connect them with the resources that they need, or to help them troubleshoot to make sure that their numbers reflect the reality of the work that they've been putting in.
Good, Christina. And going back to one of the last slides that we had, it's being passionate about it, right? Make sure that they have an understand that we are concerned and we want to help. We want to help them to become trained. Okay, anybody else from team 1?
I think
Okay,
that says it all.
That says it all. Okay, so let's move on to team 2. Your thoughts. Share them with the group.
Deborah, share your note. Beak, I
Oh.
forgot. Sorry. I'm going to share Deborah's note. She
Okay.
says, talk to the successful units to see what's working for them. Talk to the frustrated units and find out what they are lacking and how they can best be supported. Really find out what the problem is there. I added my little tidbit there. She didn't say that. Encourage leaders from both units to attend roundtable and have a breakout session on recruitment. Perhaps having the recruitment chair from the successful unit speak at the breakout session. Talk to the district committee, membership subcommittee to see how they also can assist.
Okay, awesome, David. Thank you for those thoughts.
That wasn't
Anyone
for
else?
me. That was Deborah.
That was Deborah. Well, good job, Deborah. Anyone else from team 2? Thoughts?
Robert, can you comment verbally, or is your mic? I know your camera's not working, but is your mic working? Robert Reeder left a decent.
Let's see if this, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay, so, you know, sometimes units just don't feel they can do it on their own, and then they may be struggling in that regard. And so maybe some kind of a combined recruiting fair between units, or maybe some kind of an activity, maybe a Cub Day or something like that at the Scout Center, or something where invite the community and that can draw interest. The other thing, see what other ideas ADCs have. I mean, as an ADC, you have the resources of the other ADCs to problem solve.
Yes. Yes. Very good.
I was going to make a comment, and Deborah kind of brought it up in her written up comment. It's important that we recognize as ADCs and as commissioners that we have a district committee, and they have specialized areas. And so when we have problems, we should be taking that to our district committee to let them resolve and help us with it. So we don't have to take this all on ourselves.
Correct. Good job. Thanks again, Deborah.
So one comment I had on Roberts, for like you mentioned at the service center, our council has a climbing wall at its center, at its office. So you could have an event if you're lacking if you need some recruiting ideas, you could invite the community, or as much of the community as you see fit, or have each scout invite a friend or two to the climbing wall, let's say, and show them that scouting can be fun, and let them do that. So that's something that I got from Robert's comment.
Okay, good. Good. All right, let's jump to team 3. Your thoughts, share with the group.
I think if we contact the key 3 leaders individually and find out when a good mutual time to meet is, and then ask them to commit to the appointment, even if you need to take them to lunch or bring lunch to them to make the meeting happen.
Okay, great. Good idea.
Who's paying for lunch? So I'm gonna hop in and
You're
tell
the one
you-
making the appointment, so
Okay.
you can bring lunch to the meeting, just sandwiches and something, I don't know.
In this
Invite
day
the-
and age, with the technology that we have deployed, there is no reason why people cannot get together on Zoom. I will tell you though, coming from Indiana, depending upon where you live, some people just don't have the access, or the reception is horrible. But there are ways to get people together, and lunch is great. Maybe before a camp out, maybe before a round table. I will tell you though, it's a little bit tricky here. Just because you're key 3 doesn't mean you like each other. And you might have some other issues as the reason of why they don't want to get together in person. So you might need to do a little bit more digging into that to figure out what's going on.
Okay, good, Marissa.
Well,
Okay, sorry.
about the lunch, it was just, a suggestion to say, bring some kind of incentive. It wasn't necessarily lunch specifically. And like I said, it's even if you need to bring something to get them to the table, but find a way to get them to the table.
Exactly.
And if that means digging more, I mean, that's what I was saying, contact them individually, find out what's going on, find out when a good time to meet is, because they need to learn how to work together, or they need to step down and let somebody else in who is going to work with them.
Yes. Amen to that. Okay, let's jump down here to team 4. Your thoughts. Tell the group.
I think some more information needs to be learned. I think questions need to be asked. As far as the first part, advancement figures are slumping. Okay, is there someone in the advancement position? Number one, are they properly trained? Have they been inputting the numbers? You know, are the youth really earning whatever they need to learn, and it's just not being translated? That's what council is seeing. The
Okay.
same goes with the attendance at summer camp, resident camp. What are the reasons for that? Is there a conflict of interest? Is there a band? You know, are a lot of the scouts in band, and there's a band camp when they usually go to one of those camps? Could going to a camp in another council work out better? Because going to camp is just going to camp. It doesn't matter where you're from. So I think just some more questions need to be asked. And what's the engagement in the adult leadership?
Okay.
You know, when it talks to having campouts inside the gym, are the adults saying, no, I don't want to camp outside, it's too cold? You know, try to find out some positives and go from there and build upon that.
All right, great, Cindy. Thank you for those comments. And yes, I totally agree. Any others from team 3?
From personal
4.
experience,
Go ahead.
who am I stepping on?
No, nobody. Go ahead.
Okay, from personal experience, I look at maybe there's a lack of merit badge clinics. That maybe we need to evaluate and organize that. Maybe the planning conference didn't happen in this fall, so the camporees get passed over because of no planning
Correct.
and no pre-planning. And then as far as winter camping, it's a process of building unit resources and cold weather camping training. So yeah, if you don't have any of those resources or training or experience, it's easy to say, oh, well, we'll just camp inside.
Okay. Here's a question I'll ask all of you. You know, I just came from a course here just a few seconds ago or minutes ago that basically talked about the importance of a unit service plan. How many of us as unit commissioners actually look to see if they've got a unit service plan that can help with a lot of these issues?
I was going to say, Larry, the ADCs can run reports to find out if their commissioners they're working with have unit service plans.
Correct. They can do that. But it falls back to who first? It falls back to the unit commissioner, correct?
Yeah, definitely. But we're bouncing back and forth between ADC and unit commissioner, and so that's the reason why I was a little confused as how we were supposed to be answering. Because if the question, you know, anyways, a lot of the things that you've asked, you can answer it differently from the two perspectives.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, let's moving on really quick. Let's jump to this scenario 5, and we're all involved in this. Okay, so scenario 5, write down your comments I'll give you about 2 minutes, and then we're going to jump right into it.
Larry, explain what you mean by hijacking sessions. What are you speaking about?
Unit leaders basically taking over, basically taken over
In the troops, I mean,
yeah.
in the units?
in the units themselves.
Okay.
This happens a lot at roundtable as well. For
Yes,
even the presentation, and then people, it just generally turns into a griping session about, everything that's wrong in the world, and it's just very taxing.
Instead of staying on the task at hand, right?
Or
Because
trying to be positive, facing, looking forward to find a solution, or even not talking about things that are above our pay grade, the bankruptcy, or whether council is selling properties, or fee increases, all these things that are really above our pay grade that we really, don't need to spend any time on.
exactly.
If you can get them to roundtable, you've got 10 points, because getting them to roundtable even is like pulling teeth. So get them there and then focus them. But give them the information. If they're, even if they're griping about something, they're probably curious, they need to know. And the bankruptcy is not a great topic, but if they're informed, when they get asked questions and they have the right information that they're sending out instead of rumors or hearsay. So, I mean, you can utilize it and spin it in a positive way.
Yes, thanks, Marissa. And I like what you said. You use it in a positive manner, and that's the best thing to do. We don't approach it. We don't go back to the complaining aspect of it, or to try to. We don't want to be involved in that complaining forum. Our roles are to try to mitigate that problem. Correct? We don't want to stop the bickering and everything else, and let's get back to the task at hand. Okay.
Hey, Larry,
yes.
there's a couple of comments in the chat.
Okay.
One is, don't bring up a problem unless you bring up a solution. And the other one is, empathize their frustration, listen to what their topics and their reasoning, and communicate it. Hear them out, and then come up with a solution similar to what the previous comment was, and try to talk through it. Why are you complaining about that? Okay, find out the reasons for that. And then, if you have a problem with something, if somebody has a problem with something, then you refer them to the person that can be the proper person to, they can submit their complaint to, that's going to give them an intelligent answer.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. I really appreciate everybody's that we're grouping this together and we're talking things out on these scenarios, because from you back east and those back west and in Midwest here in the state of Utah, we kind of learn from each other, and we get different points of views and ideas on how to handle different situations. And I think this is just amazing. I thank you for all of your support. Okay, let's move on here. Here's a question. What do you think an ADC's responsibilities might be? This is a huge, I mean, that's a vast area. What do you think? Comments, real quick. Paul, you're what? What's this?
Everything.
Everything.
I think ADC. Well, I think there's ADCs for different topics. So I think that, there is an ADC that covers just about everything.
Exactly right. We go back to that slide where it talked about there's 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
And so they're the main ones.
So,
but more importantly, I can't reemphasize that we go back to the ADC, who has unit commissioners below them, and those unit commissioners are responsible for the unit. And so whenever there is an issue, we learn from the unit commissioners what those issues are, and as David Hatch says, then we take it to the council district committee and let them help us resolve the issues.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Okay, training is very important in our role. We need to know and understand what our responsibilities are. So we need to go and like for today, You're here because you want to be trained and you want to learn and get different points of view from all over the country on how people handle things. And I think that helps us all. The other one is the district commissioner's vision. As an ADC, we need to know what that district commissioner's vision is. Okay. He'll have a vision for our district. Okay. Recruit unit commissioners. And I think that's very important. I can't emphasize unit commissioner's role. It's a very important role as far as the commissioner's responsibilities. Personal coaching and an orientation. I think we help each other out when we coach each other. It's not trying to, you do it my way or you take the highway kind of thing. And so we learn from each other. Okay. Guidance and unit service needs. And I think that's important, is that we should be the person that shows guidance so that the unit knows that, hey, we really truly care and we want to help you in any way that we possibly can. Okay. The next one is I want to talk about coaching. Coaching is really important. We can't just go up to somebody and say, okay, this is the way you're going to do it. That's not the right approach. The way we do things is we help them by coaching. And being a coach, you know, in my experience throughout my life, I've been coached in so many things that's helped me to get through all the situations and trials that we face. So with that being said, we need to assist with an action planning, okay? We need to serve unassigned units. We need to help evaluate unit service, okay? And this all comes in all that we do, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so we need to be involved to be able to help whatever the unit's needs may be. How many of you use commissioner tools entries? Okay, that's very important. And I hope that all of us try to use more of the commissioner tools entries because it helps us to deliver what the units really truly need. Okay, moving on. Charter renewal status. Whose responsibility is that? Group?
The unit.
It's the unit. And if they need help, who do they turn to?
Unit commissioner.
Unit commissioner. And if they need more help further than that, then they go to us as ADCs, and then we go to the commissioner and then the committee. Okay, commissioner tools, unit health. What does that mean? Anybody?
That's a rating we put on the reports as a unit commissioner every time we do log our visits with them.
Yes.
Help.
You actually tell what's going on. How healthy is the unit? Are they good? Are they running smooth? Is there leadership issues? Is there youth issues? Those things all need to be reported so that we know what's happening within the unit, correct?
Right.
Recognition. I'm a firm believer in recognition. I really am. That not only on the youth level, but on the adult level, because I think it's important to recognize those adults that go above and beyond and give it their 100% effort. I think a lot of times we don't recognize those who really truly do go beyond. Okay, again, we go back to the 4 boxes. Can you remember what the yellow one was? Shall we go back to it?
Remind us.
That's what I'm trying to do here.
How can I help?
One of them is how can I help?
I can do.
Okay, I can do.
We could.
We could. And what may I do? Okay, so those are the 4. Okay. All righty. So here's our course summary here real quick. What makes a good assistant district commissioner?
Somebody that will do something.
Someone who will do something. And then when we say that, we mean we're really going to do it, right? Because somebody used the word reliable.
That's a good one.
And so, yeah, we need to be reliable. Okay. What is the relationship between the assistant district commissioner and the district commissioner? Is that a good relationship? Hopefully that it is. Remember the hands that we're joining that I showed on the slide? That's what should happen. There should be a good rapport between that ADC and the district commissioner so that things run a lot smoother. Okay. So with all of that said, all assistant district commissioners' roles functions the same. Is that true?
No, it should be tailored to the needs of your unit.
Thank you. It needs to be tailored to the units itself. Okay. And those are things that we need to remember. A lot of times I think we try to implement somebody else's unit into another unit. Does that make sense? And I see that happening a lot. And so we just need to remember that that's what we're there for. Okay. Questions or comments from anyone? Let's talk a little bit about, how do you think you feel about your role as whatever your role is right now at this point in time that you've been called? Let's go to Liza Rose.
Well, I think what you were just talking about trying to model after another unit, I think it comes from when you see a unit struggling and you see another unit that's succeeding, then you're like, well, let's try and be a little more like them. And instead of maybe saying, yes, they're doing well, but maybe we have some differences. Maybe, we're not as good at recruiting as they are. We don't have as much interest or something in our area. So what can we do to tailor these things to us instead of trying to take on the image of another role, of another unit, even though they are, more successful than we are. But, just maybe worry about tailoring, adapting instead of trying to take on another image.
Okay. Any others who would like to give their thoughts? Okay, well, we've got about 60 seconds and then we're going to be going back. I want to thank all of you for your participation in this class. I hope that you've learned something from this class and that it will help you guide what your responsibility is, whatever it may be, as a unit commissioner or an ADC or as a commissioner. And that you have an understanding that all three of these, even roundtable commissioners and membership commissioners, we all work together for one goal, and that is to make sure that the unit is functioning properly, and that if there is anything that is needed and is that we can do to help, that is what our role is. And I appreciate all your comments and what you've said in this session that we've had. Thank you so very much. It's an honor to meet all of you from all over the country and to see your smiling faces. Thank you so much.